Hello guys, welcome to my DevSecOps channel. Today I'll be touching in 50 most asked questions, interview questions. This is applicable for DevOps SRE role, cloud engineer, and platform engineer. So today I'll be covering a variety of topics from Kubernetes, Terraform, AWS, Ansible, Docker, DevSecOps, artificial intelligence as well, and Prometheus, Grafana, and Linux. Okay. So I've just taken this question from a different areas, and it's drafted based on my experience. So please do follow the session, and at the end of the session, I'll just uh, have this PDF uploaded to the GitHub, so you can download it as well. Please follow the description, and before deep diving into the session, I request you to please subscribe to my channel. And already I have posted a lot of videos related to the Kubernetes, Docker. So please do follow the channel. Yeah, let us proceed. Okay. So the first thing is like a DevOps. What is a DevOps? DevOps is nothing but a development and operations. Before it was just an operation like an infrastructure engineer will be just monitoring the maintaining the server. Now the role has been changed to you need to coordinate with the development team and then make the job done. Okay, so it's all about like automation in all the stages of the software development life cycle. Okay, so everywhere automation. So increase the speed of delivering the application. So what are the benefits of this one? Obviously, it will be the faster deployment time and collaborative work because before infrastructure engineers were like a silos working in a silos environment. Now they need to be working with the development team in order to aid for the releases. Okay, it's again a quick release. Okay, so it's like a development operations automation in all stage of the software development lifecycle. Okay, so next coming to what are all the DevOps tools. Okay, this is a very important thing. I'll just explain a bit different way. So, okay. So now a developer is there. So he's trying to commit a code. Okay. This can be any version control like Git, GitLab, or GitHub, right? So here is mentioned over Git. Okay. So once he commits the code, he needs to build build a piece of code, right? It can be a Maven build like in a Java based application or a Gradle build. Okay, so this one these are all DevOps tools. Okay, we call this as a DevOps tools. Okay, then for Maven build and the Gradle. Okay, and for the JUnit test as well, right? Once you develop the piece of code, it needs to be tested. It's like a unit test you can mention, right? So it's like a JUnit. So these are our tools. Okay, and then we need a complete CI tool. CI tool is nothing but these are all small pieces, right? You need to integrate with the CI tool. It can be like a Jenkins or a GitLab or anything. See, a lot of tools are there. Any one tool you can just familiarize yourself. Okay, so Jenkins you can imagine. Okay, this will be like a framework inside all these tools are integrated. It's like an integration. Okay, and then this framework is Jenkins. Okay, Jenkins or GitLab CI/CD. Inside that, lot of tools are integrated. Okay, and then when you go for the deployment, it can be to a Docker environment. So it's a Docker tools is there, and these are all configuration management tools which I will explain in the questions. Puppet, Chef, and all configuration management tools, and Ansible is a configuration management tool. Any one tool you can imagine. Okay, any one tool you can just familiarize yourself. Okay, and then Slack. Okay, Slack is nothing but so stack, ELK stack. Okay, Elasticsearch, Log, Fluentd, and Kibana. Okay, it's like a logging stack and for logging purpose. Okay, and even monitoring also you can do from the Elastic Alert monitoring. Okay, and then the Nagios is obviously a monitoring tool, and Splunk is for the logs as well. So these are all different tools for the DevOps environment. Okay, so familiarize yourself with any of the tools. So next question. Okay, what is the role of the configuration management? So what is the configuration management? It's nothing but say for example, processing with servers or automated, monitor and managed. Okay, so no manual intervention is needed, right? So currently automation anywhere. Okay, so for instance, I'll give a use case. You're creating a server and then you're naming a server and enabling a configuration over there. For example, SSH configuration, you're allowing for a particular IP address. So you do it, you create it, imagine you create it manually, and then your teammates just go inside and then modify some of the things over there. And when that guy is going out of the organization, another one new guy will be there, and he doesn't know what all the configuration has been touched in or any configuration is broken. For that, you need to have a configuration management tool, right? So everything is automation, right? So Ansible, Terraform can be used for a configuration management tool. I mean, Terraform can be used, but Ansible is the main thing you can concentrate on. Okay. Then you might have heard about in DevOps like continuous integration and continuous delivery. Okay. So what is a continuous integration? Imagine a developer is committing the piece of code, so automatically the test should be running. So that's the reason, like automatical building and testing code. Okay, run test. Mostly it will be focusing on the test environment because developers will be committing the code. It needs to go in a lot of series of test before it can be pushed to the next branch. Okay, so that's a continuous integration. Okay, what's a continuous delivery and a deployment? See, there are two things. What is a continuous delivery and a continuous deployment? If you can see this image, it will show you. Okay, continuous delivery, continuous deployment is nothing but, let me just explain this in some, because these are all important concepts, so please do understand. As I told you, it's a continuous integration, so it's a build, test, these stuffs will be happening over there. It's a common for both the continuous delivery and the deployment. If you see your continuous deployment, it's a one-click deployment. Okay, so once the everything is automated, no manual intervention is needed. That's for a continuous deployment. So build test will happen, then acceptance test, everything automated in scripts. It will go to the staging environment, it will go to the production environment, and then it will do a smoke test and release. Okay, so everything is like a automated thing, no manual intervention. That is the main difference between the continuous deployment and delivery. So here you see the till here it's like a automated thing, and then for deployment to production you need to get some approvals in place from the management, and then you need to release it. Okay, so it all depends on the organization. Some organization needs to just commit the code. Okay, if I push to that branch, it should automatically go to my production. So everything is automated. This is a continuous deployment is more a mature type of environment, and continuous delivery it's a intermediate type of environment. But yes, both are useful for particular use cases. Okay, so can you name some of the CI/CD tools? As I mentioned, you Jenkins is there, GitLab is there, Azure DevOps pipeline is there, Circle CI is there. Again, I am saying don't need to memorize each and every tool. Just concentrate any one of the tools. Okay, whichever you like it. So if you are going for an open CD, I will suggest like ArgoCD or Jenkins, and if you are going for a paid version like GitLab, Azure DevOps pipeline can be useful. Okay. So another one important things related to whatever the position you're just going to get ahead. What is a Docker? Docker containers standardize executable components that combine the source code with the operating system. Okay, imagine operating system like Linux operating system squeezed. Okay, squeezed with only not all the libraries installed, but only the essential libraries, right? So imagine like a orange squeezed with an one operating system and the packages. Okay, operating system, packages, and the library. That's the Docker container. Okay, it's a virtualization technology. So container is like operating system with the dependent packages. It can be easily deployed to all the environments. So main advantages of this Docker container is, imagine a piece of code can be developer can say no, the piece of code is working in my local environment but not in the server, right? So before that was the issues. Right now we don't have that much of issue, right? Because container is container anywhere. It can be run in your local laptop or a machine or to a deployment to a production server, right? So it's universal. That's the beauty of this Docker. Okay, so what is a Docker file? Okay, so Docker file is nothing but, as I told you, in order to create the container, you need to let me just check out because these are all very important concepts. I just want to explain you a bit more over here. Okay, before I told you it's a compressed version of the operating system and the package is Docker container. So how do you run this container? So first, the first step is to write a Docker file. Docker file is nothing but a series of instructions right over here. So as I told you, Docker container is an operating system. There's a lot of images over there, I mean packages over there. So Docker file is nothing but it consists of the from statement and then the copy statement, and a lot of statements can be there. Basically, from Nginx, I mentioned over here, it will download from the Docker app the Nginx operating system. I mean the Nginx software, which will be in the Ubuntu operating system, and then copying the customized files into that. Okay, so in order to build the image, this command is used. This also you need to check on this, like docker build -t for tag, and then this the tagging the image, and the dot is for looking into the docker file. Okay, so that's about this one. Docker image. Okay, docker image obviously it's like a libraries and dependencies which is required to run a container. Okay, so imagine you have created the image. Once you run the image, it will become a container. Okay, so take a note, Docker file. When you build a Docker file, a Docker image will be created, and when you run the Docker image, a container will be created. Okay, so that's all about Docker run. Hyphen name for a container name, and hyphen d for a daemon, and then the image name. See, app colon v1 is the image name I created in this step. Okay, okay, test colon v1 or app colon v1. Okay, and Docker push is nothing but you can upload the image to your repository. Okay. So another one important thing is like a branching strategy. There are two. See, the main aim of the DevOps or a platform engineer, you need to understand a little bit about the branching strategy. So please concentrate on a GitHub or GitLab, anything. But for the interview perspective, if they ask you for a branching strategy, just go for a, about a release branching and feature branching. Release branching, which creates a branch for a potential new releases, right? And feature for a new feature releases. Okay. For example, there is a website. Okay, there is a website. If you want to add a new feature, right? For instance, I want to add I want to enhance my shopping cart experience. So I can go for a feature branching, and then I mean it's not only for shopping cart. I mean just telling it's like a feature branching, and then a release branching like minor releases you can do. Okay, but branching strategy you can, it's like a release branching and a feature branching. Okay, both can be used for multi-purposes. Okay, so I told you before what is a configuration management tool, just to automate everything, the configuration. Okay, so Ansible, Puppet, or Chef is a common tool, but Ansible is the most popular tool because it's mostly into a Linux environment. Okay, so again, another one important thing you need to understand, what is Kubernetes. Okay, I assume as a DevOps engineer, you need to have at least some basic knowledge on Kubernetes. If you're not aware of this Kubernetes, please watch my channel. I have already posted a lot of videos of what is Kubernetes from the architecture to the end. Okay, Kubernetes nothing but, before I told you a container, right? So container in Kubernetes, the containers, multiple containers can be run inside one pod. Okay, in Kubernetes, they call a pod. So what's Kubernetes? It's an orchestration tool. Okay, for instance, I want about 1,000 containers, right? So I can create about 1,000 pods with 1,000 individual containers. So you need some tool, right? You should not do like Docker run 100 times for running 100 container, right? So it's a orchestration, also known as KX. It's an open source system for automating the scaling and deployment. Okay. So, okay, another one very, very, very important thing you need to understand, because as a DevOps engineer, is to concentrate about the deployment. So, what is a blue-green deployment and a canary deployment? So, blue-green deployment, okay. So, maintain two identical environments, one for the production and one for the new version. Okay, meaning that you have a 10 servers, so you will be creating another one turn servers, and you will be deploying a code in new code in the other 10 server, the other batch of 10 servers. So once the code you want to make it like just cut off to the new servers. Okay, so this is just a blue green deployment. And what about the canary deployment? So for instance, you don't want to you're making some UI changes. Okay, for instance, Amazon.com or some, you are hosting a website, you want to just showcase them. No, you have made some changes to a UI and you want to get the feedback from the customer, so you just release them for a particular set of users, right? So this is for a specific subset of users before releasing them to production. Okay, just for just getting the feedback. So how do you get this one? So how do you achieve this one? Through a router or a load balancer. Okay, you just forward the request to the new server. for a specific IP addresses or specific subnets or specific maybe the geographical region. Okay, the use cases. So mostly this blue-green deployments for the financial system which do not require any downtime. And the other thing for the incremental deployments, Canary for incremental deployments. Okay, and then advantages is like blue green, since you have a two environment parallel one, no downtime will be there, but cost will be more because another 10 group of servers you need to maintain, right? Here less cost for the Canary deployment, new software release can be easy. Okay, so coming to another important thing, what is an infrastructure as a code? As I told you, it's versioning the infrastructure. You know about versioning your software code. It's about versioning the infrastructure. It's the infrastructure as a code, like Terraform. Terraform is cloud agnostic, meaning that I can use Terraform to create servers in the AWS, GCP, Azure. So please go for Terraform and it will be very helpful. So what is state file in Terraform? So how do Terraform manage the infrastructure? Imagine in AWS, I want to create one EC2 instance. Okay. If I imagine I go create it manually and edit it and then accidentally do some configuration uh, like push some tags and all accidentally or any configuration, I change it, right? The next time, if sorry, once it changes that one, it will be breaking the production. So in order to avoid these things, right, we need configuration infrastructure as a code tool. That's a Terraform. Okay, it's written in an HCL syntax format. Okay, so the state of your infrastructure will be stored. The blueprint of your infrastructure will be stored in a file. It should not be like in a local file. You can store it in a S3 remote S3. That is the state file. Okay, Terraform reads this state file. Please note, Terraform reads this state file for each run. So checks your current configuration with the existing infrastructure it created, and then if any changes is there, it will make the changes as per your configuration. Okay, Terraform init, plan, and apply. Okay, a lot of things are there. If you want in-depth of this Terraform, you can watch my channel. I have a lot of videos on Terraform. Okay. Another one thing is like a virtualization and containerization differences. Okay, so it's nothing but like virtualization can run multiple operating system on the hardware, and containerization is like deploy multiple applications under the same operating system. It's like a container platform. Okay, so you should have been, as a DevOps or a platform engineer, you should understand what is a regression testing. Okay, mostly this will be not done by a platform or DevOps engineer, but it will be done by a QA guys. Okay, but please understand what's a regression testing. For instance, a new release is going for a test environment or UAT environment, right? So you mostly it's like a UAT or a test environment. Once the release is done, the QA will be doing some checkups or a test. Okay, whether the original functionality of the application is working as expected. Okay, it doesn't, to ensure that it doesn't break any changes. Okay. So again, I'm telling these are all very important questions. So it's a variety of questions in different topics. So because DevOps is not about only AWS or only Linux, right? It's all about like a variety of topics. Okay, so please, you need to have the knowledge on almost at least conceptual knowledge. Okay. So what is load balancing? As the name suggests, it's just a load balance your load for the traffic. Okay, so a load balancer can be on the top of two or three EC2 instance of the server, so evenly it will be balancing the load to, for one request it will be balancing the load to one server, and for another one I request from different IP address, it will be balancing the load to the another server. Okay, and it's also high available concept. Okay, so what is the monitoring and observability? Monitoring, I have my infrastructure in place. If anything is having a problem, I need to monitor it, right? Downtime, uptime. So that's a monitoring. Observability is nothing but a proactive actions. Okay, you have the data. By monitoring, it will collect a lot of data. Data will be collected. Okay, so before, using that data, you need to have such a artificial intelligence kind of a thing. Like, okay, it will your service is taking a CPU or a consuming CPU for a very long time, and something is abnormal over there. what it will do, it will just intimate you and then take necessary actions like reload the service, not restart, reload the service, or maybe kill some of the inactive process. So it's a kind of like an artificial intelligence, like they call like observability. Okay. So the tools, no, I mean Prometheus and Grafana is the most useful tool, most common tool. Okay. Again, guys, see this question will be there everywhere. Like what is artificial intelligence? Okay. So it's like build machines capable of performing the tasks that typically require human intelligence. Like how do we take a decision? It's the machine will be taking decision. Okay, so it's a pre-train. You need to train it, right? It's not a human, right? With life, you need to train it. So you need to train with different data. As I told you, your observability. You need if you have the data, you can train it and then make it work. So some of the use cases, please do check it, like chatbot, virtual assistant when you go for a banking help, right? A virtual assistant will be there. That's an artificial intelligence and text to image processing. You can write in a text over there and it will create an image for you. And code generation, like you want to write a piece of code, just tell there, it will just extract you. And self-driving cars, okay, and image and video analysis. Okay, so how do you monitor the performance of the application infrastructure? So applications can be monitored by the Prometheus and Grafana, or Datadog and Dynatrace. These are all like monitoring the applications, and this will be very helpful. And for infrastructure also, it's like Prometheus and Grafana. Okay. So another one important thing you need to understand, DevOps. You know what is a DevSecOps? Okay, clean as you code concept. Like when you try to write a piece of code, you need to ensure that it's all up to the security standards, and very important. No, it's a very important thing. So how do you enable the security? Enable the SAS scanning, static application security scanning, meaning that a source code is there. I already have a source code in GitHub. I need to scan that for any vulnerabilities are there, right? So that's the static code. And a lot of open source tools are there. My suggestion is go for a sneak tool. Just check it. I mean, check it and try to integrate it. Okay. And then container scanning is also there. Okay. So once you code the scan the code, then you build the image, right? Even the image will be having a lot of operating system layers. So you need to scan it for any vulnerabilities. Let's go for a container scanning, sneak, and then lot of enterprise tools are there. So it's like a DevSecOps. Okay, you need to enable the security. So what's an Helm? Again, guys, Kubernetes. As I told you before, it's an orchestration tool, and inside Kubernetes there is an Helm. Like it's a package manager for upgrading and installing and uninstalling the applications. Imagine Helm like an yum package for Linux, like yum install HTTPD or Apache, right? It's the same thing for Kubernetes, because Kubernetes will be needed. Like a lot of applications can be deployed using the Helm packages. Okay, package manager for Kubernetes. That's the thing you need to understand. How do you roll back deployments? Again, this is one of the important things. Like mainly, I'm just concentrating in the Kubernetes, so please go and touch in that. Again, I'm saying a lot of Kubernetes we have posted, so please follow that one. So how do you roll back a deployment? So I told you Helm we use for a installing the application. If I am installing an application with version V1, so V1 or V2. So for example, I am installing the deploying the application in version V2, and if there are any issues, I don't need to roll back. It's like I use the Helm rollback command and then the release name and then the version number. Okay, it will roll back to the previous version. Again, guys, these are all very important things. Please to concentrate. So, what the scripting tools mainly is for DevOps? Okay, it's just a Python and Bash. The reason why I mentioned over here is the bash will be exclusively used for DevOps or containers. So please study the bash as well. But these are common questions they will ask you, like which tools have you used? So please do touch some of the basic commands on bash and Python. Okay. And Python mostly you can tell like related to Boto 3. Okay. AWS Boto 3 is there, and Python module for Boto 3 is there. So please do it, refer it. Okay. And okay, what is an infrastructure as a service? Like AWS, Azure will provide, right? What do they provide us? You need to understand infrastructure as a service is nothing but the cloud providers will be providing as a service for their infrastructure. Okay, so we are going to their infrastructure, buying them, paying them for the and buying the service for the time duration, and then we are paying that for in a monthly basis, right? This is the cloud provider. So we call them as an infrastructure as a service. Okay. So AWS, GCP, Azure, Alibaba are cloud providers. Okay. And another one important thing is like microservice and the monolithic application. I told you in previous legacy application, it will be like a single massive unit. You can imagine like a JBoss application running or starting with one jar file, no single application or a single artifact. You can imagine if there is any issue, right? The application will not start up and will break it, right? So that's a monolithic application. But in these days, in this technology, containerization technology, we go for a microservice architecture in which loosely coupled a lot of small services are there. For instance, you can think like, see, I mentioned over here like a monolithic application like front end business logic and data logic, everything is encapsulated in one jar file. Here you can see authentication, I have one microservices decouple, another core business logic, one microservices decouple, logging service decouple, and access logic decouple. So microservice is the decoupling, loosely coupled. Okay, loosely coupled means it's almost a decouple. Okay, loosely coupled. Okay, so that is the thing you need to understand. And then horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Vertical is like a, imagine like horizontal line, and vertical is a vertical line, right? So horizontal scaling, when for imagine when if you're hosting a website, you have two servers, and the load is too much, and then no, you need to auto scale the application, right? You need to add another two servers, right? So it's like an horizontal scaling. Go on adding servers, it's like an horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling is that a single server, you're just going to add more and more CPU, right? That's an vertical scaling. Okay. Horizontal trading is mostly used for a DevOps like cloud providers, and this or not. I mean, vertical scaling is mostly used for on-premises, like, but mostly horizontal scaling we'll be using that. Okay. So another one thing, how do you handle secrets in DevOps pipeline? Okay, so DevOps pipeline is the another one important thing is like you need to handle the secret in a proper and effective way. You should not store the secret in the GitHub. Please note that that's the main thing. There is different tools like because these will be asked just in the interview, right? What are all the tools used like for storing the secrets? You can tell like an HashiCorp Vault, AWS Secret Manager is there, Azure Key Vault is there. Okay. And another thing you can store it, secrets in the environment variable in the CI/CD tool. For instance, Jenkins will be having an environment variable you can store over there, or a GitLab will also be having an environment variable. Okay. So what is the difference between the GitOps and the traditional CI/CD? Okay. GitOps is nothing but your GitHub or a Git project will be a Git source code will be a source of truth. Okay. So you just commit the code over there, automatically your infrastructure or the applications will be synced. Okay, meaning that no need a manual intervention, it will be automatically syncing there, and your code will be deployed or infrastructure will be created. That's what GitOps. Okay, CI/CD tradition is nothing but some sort of a manual steps will be there. See, again I'm saying it's not about the automation. In your organization, what is the best approach? You need to figure it out, because not all the companies will be doing a one-click deployment. Okay, so please understand. So again, yeah, coming to Kubernetes components, again, see, Kubernetes DevOps are tightly coupled, so please do follow these things. And even in my videos, I post a lot of videos. Okay, so Kubernetes components, Kubernetes cluster. What's an API? So master node, it's an API server, it's a front of it's a control plane, and etcd is a key value store. These are all master node components, right? You know, like Kubernetes master node is there, and multiple worker nodes can also be there. Okay. So scheduler is assigning the workload to different nodes, and okay. Worker node is as a kubelet. See, kubelet is a very important thing. It's like an agent, okay, running on each node. Okay. Kube proxy is for the proxy or the proxying of the services. And another one important thing is the container runtime. See, you need a software to run the container, right? It can be like a Docker daemon, but container D is also there, CRI-O is also there. Okay. Others, okay, pods. Okay, as I told you, in Kubernetes we call containers as pods, meaning that a pod can have multiple containers. Okay. So that's the pod services. You are exposing the pods as a service, and config maps and secret of storing the secrets in Kubernetes, ingress and namespace. Okay. Auto scaling, I already touched you. Okay. In Kubernetes, there is an horizontal pod auto scaling is there, and you can scale a pod, right? As I told you, you can scale a server, you can scale a pod in Kubernetes. Okay. HPA, they call us HPA, is very important thing. Horizontal pod auto scale. Okay. Difference between the high availability and disaster recovery. Surely they will be asking these type of questions. No? These will be a scenario based question. So see, when I'm just explaining, I'm just giving some examples so you can just tackle the questions. Okay. So what is an high availability? A web service is there. As I told you, imagine like a load balancing, right? A load balancing is a front end, and two or three servers will be there. Even if one server is down, the load balancer will figure out that okay, this server is down because it will send a health check and then it will pass to the other two servers. Okay, that's an high availability. So disaster recovery, it's nothing but in Azure or AWS, you are creating a server in one region, right? Europe region, and in Europe, it can be London or Belgium or France, right? If London region or a Belgium, for example, a France region is down or some issues is there with earthquake, it will automatically just create the service in the other region. It's kind of a disaster recovery. Again, it's a kind of a logic you're going to apply over there. Okay. So here it's what's an VPC related to AWS, a virtual private cloud, organizing them into subnets or networking things. So it's like a logical isolation of your network. Okay, that's a VPC. So another one important thing is like a security group and a network ACL. Security group, it's at the instance level, and network ACL it's in the VPC subnet level. As I told you, VPC is full of networks, and you can enable ACLs there. Okay. And another important thing to note is like it only allow security group only allow rules. Okay. Network ACL will both support allow and deny rules. Okay. So what's the serverless computing? Okay. Another one. This also an important concept. Like these days, right? They just want to pay for the compute they currently use, right? They don't need to keep the services up and running for a very long time. Okay, use case I'll tell you. Imagine there is a data scientist. They want to analyze a lot of piece of code. So at just 10 within 10 minutes, no, they will spin up like not 10 minutes, just 20 minutes. They will spin up about 50 servers and then analyze the piece of code and shut down all the servers, right? So this type of things, right? You need some serverless computing or some automation where you just create the service as you require and then delete it as it is. Okay, and then pay for only for the CPU or the memory which you have actually used it. Okay, I don't need to run 50 servers for a 24/7 and then run it once or twice a day, right? That's not a good thing. Another one important thing to know about this is the serverless companies. The AWS Lambda is there, Lambda services is there. Automation can be done over that. See, another Ansible. Okay, configuration management tool. I have told you Ansible modules. So the question will be like, what are else? Give me some common used Ansible modules. Okay, I've just mentioned like a YAM module service, line in file, ping setup. I just explained everything. Okay, so please, and debug is only important. Another one important thing like debugging. No, if any issues with the Ansible, you can just go debug it. So see debug it. Especially I've just highlighted debug module because this will be the question will be there. Yeah. So debug can take a variable. I mean, if you want to print some of the result, print some of the value the variable takes it, you can just use a debug module or print the custom message. Okay. Then what is DevSecOps? I already told you. Like imagine, no. See, whenever you think about the DevOps, right? Imagine a developer commits a code. Okay, it needs to scan with a SAS scanning and then a dynamic scanning is nothing but another one layer of SAS scanning, but automation tests will be there. Okay, and then a Elm lint, no Elm files. The Elm package I told you like Kubernetes as a package manager. It's an Elm, and it can lint it. Lint it's nothing but you need to just check the whether the files are up to the standard or any issues is there. Okay, and then container scanning and then the deployment I already told you. In Kubernetes there's an operator thing because a lot of operators say, for example, what's a Kubernetes operator, right? The Kubernetes on its own, contains only basic packages. If you want to add some new packages like operator, like if you want to add a new programming to the Kubernetes, it's like operator will do the task. The main advantage is like, once you install the operator, it will take care everything. Like you need to don't need to maintain the software. For example, a Prometheus operator will be helping you to install the Prometheus stack. Stack meaning like Prometheus, Grafana, everything will be there. Okay, so it's like an easy usage, but the maintenance will be tough. But I mean, it has its advantages as well. Okay, Gate operators. Okay, another coming to the operating system. See, this layer is an operating system layer question. So please do follow. So what is inode in Linux? ls-l. Then if you put no, you can check the node number is just a inode is nothing but an index node. It's a data structure that stores the metadata about the files and directory in a file system. It doesn't store the data of the file system, but where the file is located, right? It will be storing with the number. See, you can just view like a touch and then the file name and start in the file name. Okay, you just have a read on this one. It will be very helpful. And what is a etcfs tab? Used to mount the file system. And if there is a load in the server, some Linux commands you need to understand. Like top command can be used to find out what are all the process load average of the CPU, everything. Okay. So what are IP tables in Linux? It's nothing but a firewall. Here I have just mentioned like I'm just whitelisting the IP address, and then sorry, I'm just rejecting any packets or any connection from this IP address like 203.0.113.51. IP tables are nothing but firewall rules in an operating system layer. Okay, so another one very important thing these days related to Kubernetes as well is the C groups. Okay, control groups in Linux. So what is a C group? See, if there is a user or a process, you should not give it access for a complete usage of your server, because no, this guy can run a program which can consume almost 90% of the CPU and the memory, and it will have impact for the other users, right? So it's like limiting the specific access user a quota for the resources. Okay, that's the C groups. So please do just read. I just put the comments over there. And some important comments I have mentioned like cron tab, find, netstat, list the open ports in Linux server. Okay, find command is very useful to find and delete. Okay, type f file, and mm is like a minimum access time. Okay, so grep is also an important command. Okay, so Terraform I told you, right, infrastructure as piece of code. Okay, so how do the Terraform work? So if I want to create a service in AWS, Terraform will be having a provider like AWS provider. That's a driver basically. Okay, driver to connect to the cloud providers or the on-prem provider. For instance, here I have just mentioned like a provider AWS, meaning Terraform uses this provider to connect to the AWS cloud. Okay, with your credential. If you are going for a GCP provider, GCP will be there. Okay, it's just a driver for connecting. So yeah, it's the same thing. CI/CD tool, Jenkins, GitLab, CI/CD. Again, why I'm just mentioning over here is I just want to make you aware of these things. Okay. And then another one question will be like, how do you reduce the cost in your cloud as on-premises? Because cost reduction will be the main aim of the company. So you need to tell them like you can put a script to shut down the instance during off working hours. See, not this is not applicable for all the instances, but some instances like a development instance which don't require 24/7 uptime, right? That's one thing you can imagine. And for AWS, you can use spot instances, or nothing but some of the extra quota AWS will have, and then they will just give you with 70% less cost, but they can terminate at any time. But that can be used for an auto scaling, right? Even if one terminates, another one. So again, coming to IAC infrastructure as a code like Terraform. What is a provisioner in Terraform? That's a remote execute run commands using Terraform on a remote server, and local execution run commands in Terraform on the local system. Okay. And another one thing, database. Okay. Any one database you need to familiarize yourself, not in depth, just commands. Okay. My suggestion is go for MySQL. MySQL, just try to create one. See, normal question is like how to take a dump in the MySQL, right? MySQL dump -u, the username, -p, the database name, and then greater than .sql. It will take a dump of the database name, db underscore name. Okay. And then what are the different types of HTTP requests? HTTP request is nothing but how to send and receive packets. This is very useful in troubleshooting. Get, you need to understand like HTTP get request means it's fetch data. HTTP post means post a submitted server, data to a server. For instance, you are filling some form, no? You are just filling a form and then click submit, it will post the data. That's a post thing. Okay. Put thing is like a update a resource or data on the server. Just a put thing, just in the scripts you will use that one. Okay. Patch is for applying a partial updates, and add to retrieve the headers for this. Yeah, guys, I've just touched in total 50 questions over here. I think mostly in and around the questions will be there. So be confident. But one thing what I suggest is some of the things you might not be aware of there inside. During that time, you just go to the Google and check it out. So best of luck, guys, and please do subscribe my channel. I'll be posting in a lot of videos, specifically each and every topic. But this will be like a overall DevOps perspective. And please do subscribe my channel. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.